All right, hello everyone, and welcome to our first tutorial of this week. And so we're going to be working on benchmark 5 as per the past videos and as per your in-class discussion and lecture and all that fun stuff, and maybe you watched as mentioned the videos and so on. Okay, so let's get into it. We're in benchmark 5, yeah. So what I'm doing here, we should of course have a folder created, whether it be in our documents, whether you put it on your desktop, depending on where we're at. As mentioned in previous videos, typically what we do in this class is we put it onto our desktop, and then we work off of that folder. Okay, so that's what I've done here, right? I've created that that folder in the desktop, grabbed stuff from my flash drive, or however you're going about grabbing your content. And again, depending on where we're at, it will depend on whether you are at school or not, as we are kind of going through that deal. So this video, of course, is more overreaching and kind of covers off all areas. So that's what we need to do. Okay, so however you get to your folders, here are my folders, yeah? So I have my portfolio class in my desktop, right? So portfolio class, let me just switch the view here. There we go, okay? So I have my desktop, all right? I then go into my, and let me even do this one. There we go, right here, yeah? So portfolio class, holy heck, there we go, all right? So within here, I've got a few things. You guys are doing your clockify as you work through your projects, which is amazing. I need to do a few still. I wasn't keeping track, bad on me. Make sure you're doing your clockifies for each of these, okay? And that will be needed to hand in, as you guys know, at the end of the semester, or as you go through it, you can hand them in throughout the course of the semester as well. Now, we went through that past videos, and you know where to go to do that. So let's begin. Benchmark 5. Yes, that's a good place to start, since that's what we're completing. Now remember, benchmark 5, we need to do a artist statement, we need to do a cover letter, and we need to do a resume. So we've got quite a bit of work to do, yeah? Now, to begin, what I'm going to do is let's create that, right? Benchmark 5, right? And this will be art statement, right? Yeah, I might do underscore, right? Cover letter, underscore, resume, right? Call it out so it's identifiable nice and quick, okay? So we know wherever all this stuff is. Amazing. Okay, you ready? Now, I'm going to do these 3 projects or these 3 assignments in InDesign, as I want you guys to practice the program. I want you guys to get in. It is the typesetting program of the 3. You can, of course, do typesetting in Illustrator, but not as highly used. So we're going to stick with InDesign to make sure that, again, it's great practice and really is the program we should be utilizing throughout for this type of layup. Okay, so one thing I didn't ask of you, but I wanted to show you. We should have a Word document with our resume, yeah? So I'm hoping that we have even a Word document, or go in and grab, any of your, I'm hoping any resume that you've got created. That being said, you may not have one, and that is totally fine, and it's all good. We'll create it together and go through the process. That being said, I'm hoping many of you do. And so that being, a benefit for sure, because it's going to help. And so we need to know, I have a resume that I've done, many over times when I was looking for, jobs, etc. And I have tons of check this out, cover letters, look at them all. Right, so remember everyone, the cover letter is something that needs to be identified, and you go and do these up for each and look at them all, right? Sport check, I applied to Brickworks, Milestone. These, of course, are branding companies within the Toronto area, Mississauga area. Loblaws, Mott's, Koba, BGI. So yeah, you'll see, right? You want to get these out to a lot of people. And these are cover letters, right? So we're gonna get there. We need to work on a artist statement as well, and we also need to work, as you guys are aware of, a resume. Okay, so my resume here, I have one in Word, and what I'm gonna do here is I'm just going to copy it, and I'm going to move it over into my main folder, so I have a copy of it. So I'm going to do copy. So you may have emailed yourself the resume. However you get your resume to you, or wherever you get it digitally to you is great. I'm just going to do a copy on it. I'm going to go into my portfolio class, and then I'm going to go into my benchmark 5, and I'm going to paste. So right click, paste item. Amazing. Okay, so let's go to organized in here. I'm going to do artist statement. Okay, folder. Yeah, nice and easy. Another folder, and we're going to do cover letters. You may want to call it letters because you may want to use this folder over and over again for job hunting, etc. Maybe not. I mean, at the end of the day, you can always just change benchmark 5 name to resume and right job search, or however you want to do it once you're ready to go and start, because you're going to have all the work here anyway. And then we have artist statement, cover letters, and then what are we doing? Resume, right? Amazing. There we go. Okay, so this is resume. Oh, sorry, I didn't go over this. We'll go over that in a second. And this is our Word document, okay? Check it out. Before we begin, I'm going to start, this video is really kind of an overview and also to kind of go over, we'll get our artist statement kind of set up. That's the first thing I'd like to work on. Second thing we're going to work on is resume, and then the last thing we'll work on is our cover letter. The reason we'll do it this way is artist statement is great to be done before we get into the resume, and then the resume makes sense to do next, and then we can base our cover letter off of our resume as on a design side of anything. Okay, so we have a resume here in Word. You guys now should have a copy. I read it a rock. I just basically took mine from a PDF. Just in case somebody asked for a Word document of my, this is not a creative resume, as you guys are aware. We discussed that in the past videos, but it is something that I can work from, right, on a text side. So you may have a non-creative resume, which is totally fine. Remember, you're going to want to keep 2, possibly 1 for your general use, and then 1 for when we're ready to do job hunting for a creative field of any kind. Right? So that's the deal. So there's my Word one that you guys should all have. This is what I did up and what I would love for you guys to do up. All right? This is some sketches of my resume. Now, we did tons of brainstorming and we did tons of work on our logo. Now, to just jump into the resume doesn't make a whole lot of sense, does it? We spent 3 weeks or whatever, 4 weeks working on brainstorming our logo, our brand, and getting everything set. Our resume is such a huge integral part of our brand. We want to do, and I'd highly recommend you just sketch some real simple looks. This is your kind of your basic brainstorming layout, right? So you'll notice I have, I do have a picture or a sketch that I've done vector of myself as a face. I thought maybe I'd have fun with it and do my face and then have things branching off of my head. I don't know. And then maybe I'll do my face to the right side and then all the stuff in the center, and then, you know, logo. So we're going to want our logo used, which is right here, right? So I kind of penciled it in, literally. And then I'm going to maybe go with this one for, you know, when we get there. So I'd highly recommend you guys check this out. See if you have time, if you can't do a quick kind of layout, to give yourself a base. And then maybe, again, we'll try one of these together maybe. And you guys can follow along with me. Maybe you can build a resume like the one I'm building just for practice. And then you can go on, see if you can't totally put your own spin on it, draw up some cool ideas on how you can go about your resume. All right, so that's that. Okay, so this is going to go in my resume folder, of course. This is going to go in my resume folder, of course. So I now have, you know, some sketches that I did up. Of course, I could spend way more time getting that more refined, but I'm happy with where I'm at for my mock-ups. Again, not part of the mark. You don't need to do this, but a professional habit to get into, absolutely. Cover letters, yes. As mentioned, you'll have one for each and every one of the employers that you go for a job. So you'll notice the amount that I had there when, you know, job searching. So artist statement, this is what I'd like to focus on. All right. We're going to be working in InDesign. So we're going to come back to Illustrator here just to kind of grab some of this stuff. For the artist statement, though, I really don't need anything for a mark for what your grade or, you know, how we're going to go about it. What I'd like to do is let's start in InDesign. Okay. You'll notice I have InDesign, Photoshop, and Illustrator open. And that's on purpose because in InDesign, you're going to be typically using photographs. You're going to be using vector art, right? And we know that because we did this with our benchmarks, right? And working with photos and text and all that fun stuff. And then vector works in the same regard. Yeah. So same deal here. You'll notice this is all the PDFs that are the large document I've been creating from, just to kind of call out and show you this. This is like the one that I've worked on. You'll notice you'll probably recognize some of these things because you've seen these PDFs. But you'll notice, right? We have our photographic elements. We have our vector elements, right? So this is, in fact, this isn't copy. This, in fact, is in Illustrator. And what I did was I brought my graphic from Illustrator in, right? We know that our links, if we have a look, I'm just doing a real quick kind of summary or review on InDesign, right? You'll notice here are all of our links. I've got quite a few going on, yeah? And then we have the extension of each of the links, JPEGs, right? We have, this is an AI file. And if I click here, if you want to try this with me, actually you won't try this with me because you don't have this file, but right, AI, and then we have the ability to edit. So that, of course, and you guys are familiar with this stuff, right? Because you've used InDesign, whether it be in print class or maybe in type class, et cetera, et cetera. So it's not new to us, but it's great that I kind of just quickly go over it since we will be working at it in the coming weeks, for the most part, yeah? Okay, cool. So that's it, right? We've got our vector art. Right, there's another piece of vector art that I brought into InDesign. You'll notice it's interesting. I even kind of masked this off utilizing some spacers and stuff because, right, I'm just using the same graphic, but all I'm doing is I'm just masking off areas that I don't want, so that when I get into my capture, I just do this, right? There we go. You'll notice, though, this is kind of an interesting one because I do have a bounding box that's around it. See this? So this is actually a custom frame that I created so that what I can do then is actually grab the frame, move it how I want to move it, and that way I can bring forward the things that I want to bring forward, right? Like so, right? There's my capture, and then I go here, and there we go. Oops, didn't work. You know what I'm saying. Anyway, you guys are like, oh my goodness, why are you showing this? I'm really just showing you InDesign as a whole, and then the things, of course, that we can do with it because we're going to be utilizing it as mentioned, and it's good that we get a lot of practice in it. So a nice combination of pictures and vector art, and of course typesetting, which is what it's all about. Okay, woo, long story short, we're ready to rock and roll. Let's start. Command N, if you could, everybody, and let's get going into our artist statement. That's a great place to begin. It'll be nice practice to just do this up, and we're going to go in. We will call this your name would be amazing, right? And then I'm going to do underscore artist statement. Okay, sound good? Check out the instructions. I believe it's benchmark. Maybe it's benchmark, right? I'm not sure 100%. That's your job. Just benchmark 5A, right? There we go. Awesome. Artist statement. I'll just add artist statement at the end. Okay, cool. Now, we're here. New. We're used to going into our landscape like 1117, right? Our tabloid. Mine is defaulting here to 8.5, 11. Yours may or may not. But what I'd like you to do first off, go here. Let's make sure we're in inches as always, okay? 8.5, 11, you can change that manually. You may also have this here in print, which is awesome. And you can use these defaults above. You'll notice hopefully we're in inches, okay? If you're in points, no stress, hit the letter over here. You'll notice it'll come up in PTs, okay? And then we just change that manually from points to inches. Then we go in, check it. Yes, we're good, 11, 8.5, 11. Facing pages, this is interesting. We're gonna be using facing pages when we get into creating our overall portfolio. Okay, facing pages though for this purpose, I'm going to turn them off. Okay, and we'll get into why that's important when we get into our portfolio, but currently not right now. Let's just get our artist statement done up. And the artist statement will be really simple. It's just a single 8.5, 11. Okay, one page is great. Columns, nope, I don't need a column in this one, right? It's going to be a single page. Margin, amazing. I'm going to keep my margins at 0.5. You know what I might do is 0.7. I'm going to change it to 0.7. If I hit preview here for a second, go ahead and hit preview. I love having my preview on. See that? This little checkbox? Because what it does is it allows me to see the artboard as I'm creating it. InDesign, you guys know, there's a little bit more option and availability here for you when you're creating the document, right? We have our bleed that's right here. Bleed is always extremely important. Don't forget your bleed. If there's one thing a printer's going to come back to you on, it's bleed. Okay, well, there could be multiple reasons, but this is the big one. Make sure you have at least an 1/8 of an inch bleed. Notice by putting 125 right here where it says a bleed, sorry, that's slug. Slug is basically the same idea as bleed, only it's for printers instead. Anyway, it's all good. All right, so there's my bleed. Okay, you'll notice here, bleed line is set. And that we know is bleed. Extremely important when you go to print. We need to have that on. And since you're doing a resume that we typically will want to go to print, we need to make sure that our bleed is on. This, of course, is our artist statement. It's not really necessary, but we want to get in the habit of doing this regardless. Okay, so bleed is on, good to go, ready to rock. I'm going to hit create. Okay, that looks really good. So I now have my margin set at 0.7 around. That's giving me a really nice border. Okay, remember, keep this in mind when you're doing any document in any of the programs. You typically want to remember that we have this beautiful, I like to pretend like it's a matting from a frame of a picture. See if you can't frame in your work, right? So that it creates a beautiful, and you don't need to live by it all the time, right? When you do a bleed, you're going to have a bleed, and we're going to do this, and we're going to have an object, right, that looks like this. And that's totally fine, right? To have something that bleeds off of the page, like so. Here, I'll show you, there we go. Right? And that's great, but we still want to live by the guide. See this? I want to live by the guide in this going up and down. See how nice that looks? It's just a rectangle. But because I've lived by this guide, I've created a really nice spatial awareness. And if I go here and I duplicate this just really quickly, and I bring it over here to the other side, notice how already I've got something kind of going on, right? Remember, our eye flows down, then up, down, okay? So down, then up, down. Yeah, that's kind of how we read a page, right? It's just North American, that's how we read. So that's how our eye flows. So it's important to know that. One of those general basic, rules of, perception, I guess it were, or general reading. Okay, so that's cool. We've got, I'm going to get rid of those boxes. We've got our box. Yeah, look at that. Artist statement is what we need. Yeah, so good thing. Let's start here. I'm going to go in, text, right? So click on the T. Okay, we can all do that. Click on the T. The artist statement can be dead simple. And I don't need, this can take literally, I say to complete it can take hours, but to literally write it should take, next to no time. Once you've written it down, like in Word, or maybe wherever you want to write it in pencil. Right? Because the artist statement itself, and I'm just going to do this. Artist statement, yeah. And then I'm going to go here and click, so it's selected. A little tip and trick, Command Shift, comma, and period. Try that with me. Command, or I guess it's Window Shift or Command Shift, depending if you're PC or Mac. Command Shift, period, or period and comma, or I guess it's the pointy bracket left and right if you want to be all fancy dancy. Okay, so pointy bracket left and right, Command Shift, comma, period. Try that. Cool, eh? Another little tip, if I do this, I love my shortcuts, and if I do that and I have lines of copy like so, check this out. Option, hold down the Option key with it selected, hold down Option, hit the up arrow. Cool, eh? Instant leading. As we know, the space between characters, right, in our type class, we know that this is instant leading with our Option. That works in all of these programs, whether it be Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign. So if you can remember Command Shift, pointy bracket left and right, and you can remember Option up and down, check this out. If you can remember Option left and right. So the Option up and down, left and right, up and down with Option held down, Option left and right arrow. Whoa. Instant tracking, which is, of course, the space between our letters, yeah? Okay, so Command Shift, pointy bracket left and right, instant size. We've got option up and down, instant letting, and option left and right, instant tracking. Cool, eh? So I'm just going to go there and do something like that and get myself artist statement above, okay? Because this is your artist statement, right? And what a beautiful, this is kind of nice, right? Once we get our artist statement copy above, maybe we're going to look at our paragraph setting, because of course paragraph, we want to know that we're going to have it either centered, left, or right. And in this case, should I center it? I think centering might be overdone. I like it just left justified. I might keep my tracking really big like this. It kind of adds kind of a nice feel to it. My artist statement is very chic and like it's very elegant. It's got this serif type font with Minion, of course. A really popular font, really classic font. Does this match me and my art? Not really. This matters. My favorite font right now is a font called Acumen. You should have it because it's a variable font. Variable fonts are absolutely fantastic. They allow you to do weights and look at this. Look at how crazy. You can do a half an italic with the variable font. How neat is that? So these variable fonts are fairly new as per a few months ago, maybe 6 months ago. But the ability to do super thin, I love this. Look at that. Oh, how nice is that and clean. Oh, and I just love the font itself. It's so well created. Anyway, that's me. I think this font represents me. You find a font that represents you. You went through the process of finding it in your logo. You went through the process of doing it in your brainstorming. Remember that when you did all your brainstorming? So go through and have a look at the fonts that you chose and find a font that matches you. Okay, it's all about matching. It's all about you. This is you. This whole course is about you, right? And who doesn't like to talk about you, really? So we got this artist statement. Now, what we need from you, what I need from you, is 2 to 3 paragraphs about you as an artist. Yes. So I'm going to just make my text box larger here, right? And I'm going to go in, and all I need now, you'll notice if I start typing, this is really ridiculous, and please don't try to do this kind of like moving your peas around the plate and look and tell mom and dad that you ate your vegetables. This is not, right? This is not going to fly. Don't give me a 36-point type with 2 lines and then a return and then 2 lines and a return and 2 lines. That's not 3 paragraphs of copy. And I'm just teasing with you, but let's make this a little bit more realistic. There we go, right? And then not only that, but you'll notice my tracking up here as well. Check it out. 220 was my tracking. And that's because, remember, I went in and I was using the option key left and right arrow. So let's just go back to 0 for now. And that actually is a little too condensed. So with that, I might do option to the right. Or in general terms here, everyone, you may want to find a font that is a little bit better for readability. Okay, even though that I do love my Acumen variable, I'm finding that this font is a little bit difficult to make out as a body copy. If that, right? Every font has its purpose, limitations. Although I guess if I did something like this, maybe increase the weight just a little bit and something like that. Actually, you know what? That looks pretty good. All right, never mind. So there we go. Artist statement. Yes? Good. I'm going to do this. I'm going to put a simple line. You can do it with the line tool right here. Line tool. I'm going to go up here, and all I'm going to do is draw a line. It's amazing what a line can do. Lines are absolutely fundamental and one of those big things that we look at as an overall element of design, right? The line, the ever popular, never out of style, right? Okay, so we've got this copy. I'm going to go back in here and I'm going to adjust my leading because this is ridiculous. you'll notice that as I was playing around with my leading, what happened was it kept that same leading when I had large font up here. And look at the space. That's crazy, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select on all, Command A, as we know, or Window A. And notice my leading was set at 58. That's crazy. We don't need that. So what I'm going to do is maybe go to 30 and have a look. So I changed my leading, space in between, to 30. And look at that. Hey, that's better. All right, you ready to rock? So your artist statement. So this is where, right? Right? What does your art mean to you? Right? Why are you, like, what is it that inspires you? And we went through all this stuff, right? Which is great because, as mentioned, go back into, right? I gave you a ton of resources there on what to kind of keep in mind when doing this stuff. Okay. Sorry, I'm designing candles here. That's awesome. Sorry, let me go back here. So let's have a look quickly here. Sorry, I was kind of logged out. Good job, Mitch. Okay, so let's have a look back here and just check it out, right? So I gave you a ton of resources there. I say a ton, a few. Enough that'll really help you out, right? Write an artist statement. Check this out, please. Amazing. So if you're starting here and you're kind of like, oh, dude, I don't know where to begin. No worries. Have a read through, okay? This is great. Notice even in our art, like the brainstorming phase is extremely important. We've done the brainstorming phase as mentioned, right? You've already got this completed because we did do that. You've gone through and you've created and got some colors and fonts and pictures and all this crazy stuff, right? Now, it's great to write the stuff down, right? About what it is that makes you and, you know, what you want to express through your art. Right? This is awesome. Read through this. It'll really help you out. Okay? The what, why, and how. Remember these three things when you're drawing, or when you're not drawing, but when you're writing this out. Okay? So even if you write that in, right? What, why, how. Okay. Even if you took each of these and did a paragraph on each of these about your art, what it is that you create, why it is that you create it, and then how you go about your creation. Isn't that awesome? And right there, everyone, that will get you to a point that you'll have this ready to go. Okay. Now, I'm going to be totally honest with all of you. I've never done an artist statement. Isn't that crazy? I'm honestly, I should take the time right now and do this up. I won't do it right now with you, but. Right? This is such an important piece to all of you. And I think it's self-reflection. It's something, as mentioned, I need to do. 100%. I do. And I think a beautiful thing to take on. So that's that, okay? We've got okay, so this video, what did we do? We introduced our 3 projects, as you maybe already watched the videos. We checked out InDesign in general, really basic stuff that you guys are all familiar with. We looked at the ability to use photos and graphics and all that fun stuff. We looked at our type, setting type, and just literally using our short keys. What else did we do? Oh my goodness, right? We looked at some brainstorming and some sketches for a resume and how we can go about that. And then we got our type or document, Word document for a resume ready to rock and roll, because that's going to be the next step. Okay, so here we go. I'm all done, yes? So here we go. I'm going to pretend this is your job now. I want you to, I'm not going to, of course, fill, I'm not going to do, there, look at that. Fill in with placeholder type. Now, this is interesting, isn't it? So when I fill in with placeholder type, typically what happens is it fills in the box with placeholder copy, but what happens is it defaults to the copy that I originally had set within this paragraph, which is kind of interesting. That being said, I'm not going to worry about that right now. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do this. And there we go. I have my artist statement. Okay? Something like this is great, everyone. Of course, you're going to take the time to fill in the what, why, how. Okay, I'm not going to do this right now for all of you. You don't want to sit through me creating an artist statement of my own. But that being said, that's what I need from you for the first assignment. Okay, so really a long video that kind of goes over and explains much of it, but really all we needed was this last portion. So maybe I'll mention that in the video, in the comments. I'd love you to watch the videos, but it's all good if you can't, if you couldn't make, it's what it is. So let's get this submitted and saved. Let's do a Command S, right? So that's, or Window S to save. I'm going to go into my desktop, which is right here. I'm going to go into my portfolio class, into my benchmarks and benchmark 5, and then for my artist statement. And then I'm going to go and save my InDesign file. There we go. Nice and easy. No graphics involved in this one. I literally just need it nice and simple. If you want to flare it up, if you have your logo ready to go, which we'll be utilizing in your resume, go for it. Throw your logo in here, which would be amazing. And then we can pop maybe your logo in down here, maybe your contact info or a little signature down here. However you want to go about it, right? We're going to be utilizing this artist statement on your portfolio. This will be page 2 of your portfolio. Okay, I mentioned that in the last videos. Now for this submission, it's always good to know, we want to go into File, Adobe PDF Presets, and let's do smallest file size, everybody. We don't need to go crazy with this. It's just for preview. Okay, so smallest file size. Okay, now it's benchmark, right? Named 5A artist statement.pdf. Fantastic. And I'm going to go here, save. You'll notice you got all of these different options. Let's not worry about any of these currently. We will look at some of these in a little later. You're doing this now in print class with your bleed, which is really important, your crops, etc. Okay. For now, though, no worries. I'm just going to hit export. And then I have mine. You'll notice in the export options, it says to open up after it's done. You'll notice mine opens up in Acrobat, and yours may do the same depending on if you have the Adobe Creative Suite, which you all should have, I'm hoping. Yeah, so that's that, and this is what I need from you for part A. So you're going to then go, of course, into our assignments folder. Okay, sorry, so we're in assignments. Yes, click on assignments. Good. And then we have capture a artist statement. You guys can click in there. You'll notice just for writing up 2 to 3 paragraphs of copy, taking some time, giving it some in-depth thought, and really give it, things, write your artist statement so it's clear, it's concise, right? That you've taken some added in-depth look at your art as a whole. This can be challenging, okay? So do your best with it, okay? And we're here to help you out, regardless of whoever you have as a professor currently. Just remember, I've mentioned that before, we're here to help you, okay? So remember that. And then, of course, naming it properly. And so don't forget to name it as required. I may not have named it accordingly. I didn't look at the instructions beforehand. That would be your job, okay? So make sure that it is the proper name, right? Your name, I think it's your name, and I'm not going to give you the answer. I want you to do the work. Okay, cool. So that's that, everybody. Upload your PDF if you could, all right? And then that's our artist statement. So we're going to come back. We're going to take some time and work on our resume. And then from there, we'll work on our cover letter. Okay. Once we get these 3 things completed, we'll be in beautiful shape to then move on to our portfolio. So stay with me, everybody. Oh, actually, yes, artist statement. You'll notice I'd love to see this also in my folio. So go on in, folio. Don't forget your Clockify as well, right? So hopefully we're clocked in this whole time, right? We're going to go in and we're going to create a new project, right? And then we're going to upload our artist statement. Okay, so I'll do that with us. And here we go. Project name, my art statement. You guys can name it whatever you'd like. It's your portfolio. And then I'm going to go in. Oh, not my logo brainstorming. Boop. All right, we're going to upload our logo brainstorming. Okay, good job, Mitch. Make sure that you look at what you're uploading. Always a good idea. Okay, don't do that. And what do I want to do? I'm going to go into my benchmarks. Yes, and benchmark 5. and artist statement. You guys can do this, of course, after you're done all of them. And really, I'm only going to need 2 of them. Okay, there we go. My artist statement, attach and publish. Okay, I'm not going to share any of this stuff, but I would like to see it published just so I have it. And it's going to come up as a beautiful, just as simple, right? Look at that. Nice and easy, yeah? Look at that. Hey, Petroleum's telling you, hey, just so you know, you've uploaded this project. Are you good with that? And I'm like, yeah, of course I'm good with that. Okay, and there we go. We've got our artist statement, right? Along with our other 3 projects that we've worked through. Okay, actually, I think I forgot. Brainstorming, Sculpt, and we didn't upload our, oh shoot, we didn't upload our logo, did we? That's an important one. Maybe we should do that. Anyway, I won't do that now, but that'll be that for the artist statement. And we'll come back, everyone. Stay tuned.